Good morning. My name is Ralph Lewis. I'm here in the dry aging rooms at the Okeechobee Steakhouse and Okeechobee Prime Meat Market here in West Palm Beach. We're the oldest steakhouse in Florida. We've been here 72 years. We actually start our 73rd year October 21st, 2019. So what we're going to do today is the difference between a porterhouse and a T-bone. Come on in. We're going to step in here and I'm going to show you where I'm going to pick from. So this is our dry aged short loins. This is where we get porterhouses and T-bone. So I'm looking for a really good one. I want to get a bigger one. I think I'm going to take this one. So I'm going to take this short loin and we're going to go to our cutting room. All right, so we've made it over into the meat cutting room. This is a room designed strictly to cut our meat in, separate from our dry aging rooms. And we've got the short loin here that I picked out. I'm going to turn this over at this point to Bernard. Bernard's our head meat cutter, butcher, been here 17 years. Bernard cuts about 4,000 pounds of steaks a week. So Bernard's going to fire up the saw and he's going to cut off some porterhouses and cut off some T-bone. I'm going to explain it as we're going along. So I'm going to let him fire this up and get going. So what Bernard's doing right now, he's going to take off this chine bone right here. He's going to take this down just a little bit, cut some of the dry age off, and get it ready to trim up. So now what he's going to do, he's going to cut a little bit here and just press it to get it ready. Okay. This is the short loin end. This is the big end. This is where you get your New York strip. This is your filet mignon. So he's going to square this up. All right, now you see, we'll clean this off. This is a little bit from the saw, but you see right here, here's your sirloin, your strip loin side, and here's your filet mignon side. Now the first 3 or 4 cuts is going to be a porterhouse. And then he's going to get into the T-bones, and then we'll explain to you what the rest of the short loin is. Okay, there's your first porterhouse. Second. Third. Now we're going to start getting close to a T-bone. There you go. So we may get 2 or 3, probably 3 T-bones. That's it. This is a porterhouse, and this is a T-bone. I want to show you, if you look, here's your difference. See the filet mignon? A T-bone has a little teeny piece of a filet, just a bite. Porterhouse, you usually have at least 1.5 inches, up to a couple of inches. So you only get the first couple of cuts. You can see that it starts to get a little smaller as we're cutting them. Even the T-bones, they get a little bit smaller as they're going. Now this gets down to where he'll trim this off and then we'll get a bone-in New York strip. So I'm going to let him move into that and cut the bone-in New York strips and show you those. Go right ahead, Bernard. So he's going to bone this out. Now you have just the bone, which is where the T comes from. That's hence the T-bone. What he's going to do, he's going to cut this part of the T off. Square it up a little bit. And now what you have is, when we cut this, it'll be all bone-in New York strips or bone-in Kansas City sirloin. So he'll cut them now, and we'll cut about a 20-ounce bone-in strip. So there you go. So, as you can see, we get a lot of cuts out of this. Now that's not all the cuts we can get. We're gonna show you later where we get a bone-in filet mignon and where we get the filet mignons and a few other cuts. But again, so we start off with the porterhouse, it goes to the T-bone, and then it goes to the bone-in strip. This is all on one side. This is prime beef. This is aged around 50-55 days of dry age is what we have on these. You can see the nice coloring in the meat, and these things will eat like butter. They're amazing. We'll serve them tonight at the steakhouse, or we'll have them at the Okeechobee Prime Meat Market. One thing Bernard's pointed out, and this is what I forgot to, let's let him trim up a couple of these. and get them cleaned up and ready. Because we don't leave this kind of fat on them. There you go. So this is a trimmed up porterhouse ready to go. A lot of marbling in it. If you notice, we cut them close. This way you're not paying for a big tail. If you go to your grocery stores, you go to a lot of your meat markets, they'll leave all this tail. Not a lot there to eat. They'll leave the big seam fat. We cut it down. Meat's heavily marbled. Look at the marbling just in the filet mignon side. You'll never see that in a grocery store somewhere. Won't happen. So there's a huge, huge difference. All this marbling that's in it, just amazing. Now, this room's very cold. It's in the 30s, so we've got to cut this video because I don't think I can stand it in here any longer. Look for our next video. Have a great day.